Well, it's now been over 2 years since I made one of the first videos on this channel talking about, it was a video called How to Get Filled at the Best Price in thinkorswim. And that video that video has kind of a special place in my heart because, well, it's the most viewed video on my channel. And I think it talked about some things that were, you know, pretty that hadn't really been discussed about thinkorswim in the way that I kind of brought them up. And obviously those topics were notably um, relating to how to get filled at the best price, and that telling people that, reminding people that TOS is a free platform, and anything that comes, without a price tag probably isn't going to be of the highest quality. So in this video, I really wanted to talk about, why 2 years later, because that video has been on my mind. It's been 2 years. I just can't even believe it. But 2 years later, why I'm still using thinkorswim. And thinkorswim at this point, it for me, it's synonymous with trading. It's just for me, it's just where trading is done at this point. And yes, at some point in the future, could I possibly see myself trading on another platform? Absolutely. I mean, if you really, 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 want to pull all the stops and just is that the expression? Anyway, if you really want to go all out, I think probably you're not finding yourself trading on thinkorswim. There are some scenarios where I think definitely thinkorswim is not going to be appropriate. So I wanted to talk about why, for me, it's still appropriate, and why 2 years later I still use it, and why it might be the right thing for you to use, and you might want to stop paying for the expensive trading platform you're using and just trade in thinkorswim instead. Because there are a lot of great advantages. This platform is really awesome because you have to, again, put it in the context relative to its price tag. Its price tag is zero. You can open up a TD Ameritrade account and get this for free. And when I say this, yes, all that you're looking at, right? News feed, level two, all the indicators that you want, right? Think script, you can program your own stuff. I mean, you get everything. That's just for the trading, right? Let's talk about scanners. Let's talk about ways to analyze your performance, monitor tab, market watch, looking at the market. I mean, just all the tools in here, all the different types of charting you can do, tools, you can get bookmap on here, education. I mean, just all the resources they have on here completely for free. All right, analyze tab, right? I love this. Look, I use this all the time for options plays, analyzing options plays, risk reward, profit, fundamentals of stock. I mean, the list goes on. Whatever. I don't need to get into all that right now, but get all that for free. So again, it's kind of hard to put that up against a platform that you're paying for. So if you take it in relative terms, it's kind of hard to beat because it's free. But at the end of the day, we're here to trade. And I made that video 2 years ago, how to get filled at the best price, talking about how thinkorswim, even when you're on real-time data, the truth of the matter is it doesn't show you the real-time fluctuations in price that are going on. If you're looking at a level 2 on Lightspeed or something that is really, really fast, like even like DOS or any of these other platforms, you will see the real fluctuations in price that are happening, and you can take advantage of that with direct access routing. You're not really gonna get that on thinkorswim. Thinkorswim, it's like smart access routing or whatever it's called, and they route your order to wherever they want, and that's kind of how thinkorswim makes money off of our trading. But again, depending on your strategy, that will either matter or not. So anyway, reasons why I still use TOS. I already touched on the fact that it's a free platform. Another thing is the charting is just in general very good. I like the charting a lot. I have the indicators that I like on here. I have my charts. I have everything I need. I have in a separate window, right? You can detach the windows and throw up on all your monitors all different kind of charts that you want. anyway, I really am a fan of the charting on this platform. I've had no issues with it. I like how the candles are represented, and the chart, the look and feel of the chart, as crazy as it sounds, is very important to me. But I like the way that the chart looks. I can interpret it very easily, and it just works for me. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the next point I was going to bring up, which is just that I'm so used to it at this point that it's like I know the platform, right? And so there's obviously going to be a reluctance to give that up in favor of a platform that I don't understand and try to learn that. That's not to say that if there were clearly a better platform and a new reason why I would want to change that I wouldn't do it, but I just right now this platform I understand, I like it. And then the next uh well, I guess the next point I have on here is that I get 4x margin, and that's not unique to thinkorswim. That's more a TD Ameritrade thing. But that's just to say that the fact that I have my money in TD Ameritrade and they allow me to have 4x margin intraday, that's a lot of capital to be able to play with, for day trading. And that serves my needs, and that's what I rely on to be able to do my day trading is that 4x margin. So that's just to say that I can do what I need to do on TD Ameritrade, on thinkorswim with that pool of funds. Um, and so that's very important too. But the number one reason that I still use thinkorswim, and this is where I'm going to kind of boast a little bit, which is that my strategy, which to be honest with you, I don't really know of many other traders on YouTube that have the same strategy that I do. I mean, I really don't. And I've been on YouTube making these videos for, you know, years now. Here I am talking about 2 years since I made that video. Um, but I really don't know of any other people on YouTube that trade mid to large cap equities, on thinkorswim the way that I'm doing it, right? I'm not trading options, I'm trading the equity straight out, and I'm doing it with a strategy largely based on the structure of and patterns that I see in stocks combined with stock index futures and the patterns that I see in stock index futures, combining stock setups with setups on stock index futures, identifying relative strength, relative weakness. That's the entire strategy. And so the reason that I bring that up is typically recently I've been a little bit more scalpy in my strategy, but traditionally over the last couple of years, and the main way that I trade is that I will take a position based off of a setup I see on a quote unquote larger time frame, right? Larger than a 1 minute, right? Maybe it's a 3 minute, maybe it's a 5 minute, maybe it's a 15 minute. My strategy is combining time frames so that I get multi time frame alignment, identifying relative strength, relative weakness with the market. If you have a thesis on where the market's going to go based off a larger time frame, and that combines with your thesis about the stock and its particular setup, then you can have very high directional confidence and take a position and let it work. And that's what I typically like to do. And so what that means is when I take a position on a larger time frame, it doesn't necessarily matter to me whether I'm getting, I don't need direct access routing. I don't need those parts of trading that other people rely on, right? So if you're a scalper, plain and simple, right, you need to get in, and those pennies, right, those pennies matter. Those pennies don't matter to me. I'm trading stocks like Amazon, I'm trading stocks like AMD, I'm trading stocks like Nvidia, right? I don't need the fancy tools or the fancy, advantages of some of these other platforms that you have to pay for. So what's nice about my strategy is it's very cheap. Not only do I not need stuff like smart direct access routing, but I don't even need scanners, right? Scanners can be extremely expensive. There was a point in my whole trading journey where I, was interested in trading small caps. I actually think that's how I got started. I quickly made the move to large caps and mid caps because I was like having much more success there. But if you are trading penny stocks, you need those scanners. You need to find the momentum, right? It's a different stock every day, and you need your news feeds, right? You need news feeds. You need all that stuff in tip-top shape, because if that news comes out or halts, or I mean, all this nonsense that you need to be aware of, your focus is split in like 20 different ways. That's kind of what turned me off from the whole, pump and dump penny stocks. Uh, but for me, does news come out on a stock like Nvidia? Absolutely. But when it does, I pretty much know instantly when that does happen. When a headline comes out, you can see on the 1 minute chart volume increase very quickly, and you know that there's a headline at play. And pretty much at that point, I'm just, I'm not really touching it. Maybe in some cases I would, but anyway, the point is I don't need all these fancy scanners and news related tools to be able to execute my strategy. And so that's why TOS serves my needs, because in general, if you want to take 300 shares of Nvidia, you can hit buy and you're going to get filled at, it depends on the spread, but like if there's a decent spread on it and you hit market buy, and you're in it for a trade that you're in it for at least 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour, right? I'm not going to care if I'm giving up, a few bucks here and there because I'm not getting the absolute best price. Now, that being said, typically the way I enter trades is through limit orders on this ladder, and I will get very picky about my price. But I can do that. A limit order is a limit order, and I can say I want to get a very specific price, and I can still be very specific. But in those cases, I'm not trading a breakout scalp where it's like, oh, I just need to get in, and I need to get in at like a perfect, like I don't need to buy the ask really fast and look for that breakout. I'm more so just waiting for my setup, taking the entry, and then letting it go. So that is kind of one of the main reasons. The last thing I just want to touch on briefly too is that the downsides of TOS don't cost me enough for me to want to stop trading in thinkorswim. So again, those downsides being that there's one of the very obvious downsides that I talk about all the time and is obviously extremely frustrating is what we call quote unquote TOS lag. You hear it all the time on the streams. I mean, on that opening bell, we're like, okay, I'm not, on that first minute of the day, you don't you very rarely, today actually I did, I think, take a trade on the opening bell. I think I did on Tesla today actually. I took a trade on that first minute, I think. But anyway, typically you don't really see me take. This was actually a winning trade. I went short on Tesla and I covered down here. I lost on it later in the day, but this was a winning trade. Anyway, the point is, and I had a trade on Amazon on the first minute too. I went short, but I typically don't take trades on the first minute of the day because of what we call TOS lag, where if you do that, you're playing with fire. I will tell you right now, at least for me and others that I've spoken to, about that, that trade in TOS. Everyone's very familiar with TOS lag, which is that if you play around in that first minute and you try to take an entry off the opening bell, usually after 1 minute you're kind of safe, but there's that risk that you're going to place the order, and what's going to happen is your order is just going to sit there on the market price. Are you getting filled? No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like you're not getting filled. It looks like your order is just sitting there, hovering over market prices. It's fluctuating. Your order is just sitting there moving with the price. And I'd say about 50% of the time, the truth is you're actually filled on the stock. It just hasn't told you yet. And then the other half of the time, it actually hasn't filled you yet. Your order hasn't processed, and you can actually still cancel it and you're not in. Because I've had both of those happen to me. So anyway, it's just something you don't want to be mixed up in. Should that really be happening on a platform like this? Like, no, in my opinion, they need to fix that or look into that. I don't know I don't know what that issue is, but it is an issue. But you know what? For me, again, the downside of that issue it doesn't cost me enough to be able to want to like switch platforms, because the reality of it is most of the time I'm not really taking a position on that first minute anyways. Or in a case like today, I was like, yeah, I am going to take a position on that first minute, but my confidence that we're going to move lower is so great that I don't I'll take the risk of like the hesitation to fill me, right? I'll take the risk. Sometimes I just decide to take the risk, and I'd say about 50 to 70% of the time you'll just get filled right away like normal. But there is that risk that your order's going to sit there for a second and you have this like, uh-oh, TOS lag moment. So that's definitely something to be aware of. And then, of course, there are other downsides to TOS. They don't. There's not a whole lot of. There's enough hotkey functionality for me. It's fine. There are some other lag issues just throughout the day. It's not the snappiest, fastest platform. I mean, it is a free platform, so there are going to be those downsides. But anyway, they just don't cost me enough to be able to say like, yeah, I need to get out of here. I need to switch platforms. The truth is, again, my strategy just doesn't really need that level of precision. And so that's kind of what I like about my strategy is that I don't need to pay, hundreds of dollars a month for fancy tools in order to be a profitable trader, and that saves me money. And a lot of the struggles that I've had over the last couple of years and longer in my day trading, a lot of those places where I've messed up or could have done better had to do with trading related errors that had nothing to do with the platform I was trading on. They were entirely errors related to primarily risk management and the emotional side of trading, which I say over and over again, and I'm very open about the fact that that's always been the thing that I've struggled with the most. And so that has nothing to do with thinkorswim. And so anyway, in conclusion, thinkorswim serves all my needs, and I don't really see myself trading on a different platform until I change my mind about some other platform, the cost benefit being worth it for me to all of a sudden switch. And yeah, that's it. I do have some other, opinions about, if you are scalping and your primary strategy is scalping, where you might need hotkeys, where you might need scanners, where you might need better fills, you probably don't want to be trading on thinkorswim. And so I will call out, Relentless Trader on YouTube. Why are you trading in thinkorswim? I really think, I mean, obviously it's entirely your choice, but I'm just going to critically call you out because I love you and I love your content. But why are you trading on thinkorswim? You should really, like, in my opinion, you really should think about upgrading your platform, because I think that for you it would be worth it to get those better fills, to get that faster execution, because when you punch it on a breakout, it can be costly to get filled at the top. All right. I just, if you're scalping, buying breakouts, going big or going home, you do not want to be trusting TOS on market orders. Hell no. Hell no. Right? If you're buying a breakout and you press market buy, say a prayer. Say a prayer, because the odds of you getting filled at the tippy top are significant and 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 very costly. I mean, I've had it happen to me on mid to large caps. I know, if you hit that buy button on a breakout, you man, you're either early and you're in, or you're late and you're probably in at the top and you're probably paying the price for it. I just had it happen to me the other day on Baba. I bought a breakout, it touched 80 bucks, reversed instantly on me, and I was pretty much filled like, near the top, and then you just got to get out and just concede. But it's not a good platform for snappy, you know, fills. It's just not. So anyway, bad probably for scalping, but for my strategy, entirely adequate. And anyway, all right, that's all I have to say. I will see you guys live in the morning tomorrow. I go live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. At least that's the streaming schedule right now. And we'll be trading mid to large caps live tomorrow morning on equities. If you want the everyday stream, link in the description to the Discord where you can join. And anyway, all right, that's it, guys. Have a good rest of your night. See ya.